Well, hey everyone, Jay Whitner here with Kickstarter Coaching and our new TV show online, Crowdfunding Coverage. We keep our show to about 10 minutes in length, so we'll have to get started right away. We're covering December 2013 today, and we've got news about Kickstarter and Indiegogo. In December, there were 19 major campaigns that were 310 grand or more that were funded in December. Those campaigns brought in about $11 million. The largest campaign in December was a computer-oriented campaign called Kano, aimed at children to help them learn about computers and coding and building computers. And at the end of our show, we'll talk about the 8 major campaigns and some of their interesting characteristics. But first, our news. Indiegogo did some interesting things in December, some announcements. They're putting together a crowdfunding playbook with tips and advice on crowdfunding. And they're also in the process, something they'll be working on in 2014, of building a network of crowdfunding sources of data and consulting and so forth. So it'll be an interesting resource for the whole crowdfunding community. Also, Indiegogo is going to be a very visible presence at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. What they're doing is they're taking 10 of their successful hardware crowdfunding campaigns, and they're going to have an area at the Consumer Electronics Show for them to show their wares and talk about Indiegogo. I think that's an excellent strategy for them. In Kickstarter, we're coming up on our end-of-the-year statistics. Some of those are starting to come out now. So in 2013, Kickstarter raised over $100 million just for game projects. I thought that was interesting to have one category, even a dominant category, rake in that much money in a single year with Kickstarter. Was pretty cool. Then we have more news on Kickstarter in terms of search. For all the great things Kickstarter has brought the industry and all the great projects that have come out, it hasn't been so easy to find the projects sometimes. So they've come out with a new advanced search tool for Kickstarter. You can go in there and look at it, but there's more criteria. You can look for things based on type of project and area of the country that it's in, and different ways you can look through the projects and find what you're looking for, which is a big boon to anybody who does any kind of research on that. The Sundance Film Festival, perhaps the most famous film festival on the planet, in 2014 they're going to have 20 films at Sundance that came about through Kickstarter funding. Just another mark of the great strides that Kickstarter and crowdfunding are making. So on to some of the big campaigns of December. The size range, they range from 300 grand to $1.5 million. The goals were a very wide range. One of the campaigns had a $4,000 goal. And obviously raised a lot of money, up to a goal of $500,000 was the biggest goal. The videos, which is a key part of your campaign, range from 2.25 minutes to almost 8 minutes long. I strongly suggest that you do not make a video that's 8 minutes long, although these people were successful doing that. If you're much past 3 or 4 minutes, I think you need to take another look at your video. Updates. Everybody was pretty solid on their updates. We had a range of 7 to 39 updates during the course of the campaign. The length, 26 days up to 60 days. The current wisdom is somewhere in the 30-day range, is thought to be optimal. Reward levels. The range is 11 reward levels to 128, which I think demands a little bit of an explanation. I don't think I've ever seen a campaign before that had 128 reward levels. This was a music-themed campaign, and they had individual song dedications. That's why they had so many reward levels. Do not make a campaign with that number of reward levels unless there are strong, compelling reasons to do so. All of these campaigns on Kickstarter were the first campaign of all the creators. But on average, creators had backed 5 prior campaigns before they launched these campaigns. So on to the individual campaigns themselves. The first one is The Wrecking Crew. This is a film documentary about the studio musicians in the 60s and 70s that were sort of the backstory for all those great albums that were created. It was unique in that they already had the film made. The reason for their Kickstarter was to raise money for all the licensing fees due to the musicians, because the film is full of music and you've got to pay fees to use the music. So that was the cool part. They already had the movie before they came to Kickstarter. Next thing is called the White Book. Solid campaign, brought in over $400,000. What they've done basically is they've taken the whiteboard, like you might have at a brainstorming session, and reduced it into a notebook. So they did some interesting things on their campaign, but the one that caught my attention was they really rewarded people that came into the campaign early. So they had a series of stretch goals that they gave out more and more stuff depending on how big the campaign went, which is not all that unusual, but they tied it into how early you came in. So the first 1,000 backers got all those extra rewards. The second 1,000 backers got slightly less, and so forth. So it was a strong incentive for people to come out and support the campaign at the beginning. Next we have Xeroscope. This campaign was to make an automatic wristwatch. Brought in about $450,000. Some of the interesting things about their campaign were that there was a lot of material on the origin story of their watch. Early sketches, early thoughts, considerations they went through in developing a product. That was kind of neat. Also, they decided to make the first 100 units numbered, so it makes it more of a collectible that you have Xeroscope watch number 11 or something. So that was another aspect of their campaign that was cool. But on to some really critical stuff, coffee. We have a campaign here about coffee and raised roughly $700,000. They have invented an automated machine that takes it from like the coffee bean all the way into your cup of coffee. So this machine is going to roast the beans in the machine, grind the beans, brew the beans, everything automated in sequence through your cup of coffee. So the freshest coffee perhaps that any of us have ever experienced. I look forward to trying one of these one day. So they had some interesting things in their campaign that are becoming a little bit more common. They had an infographic about all the development steps that remain in the project, and they had buttons for ordering things after the campaign is completed. So if somebody goes to their campaign page, they'll see a button that even though the campaign is closed, they can click it and they can get one of these machines. Next we have a game. This is a computer game, a space-themed computer game called The Mandate. And it had some interesting aspects to it, of course. And some of them we're seeing a little bit more, like there was a button to visit them on YouTube or visit them on their Facebook page. But one thing that hasn't really gotten much press yet that they are doing on their campaign is called Kicking It Forward. This was an idea that was originally put forward last year. I mean, sorry, we're in 2014 now. I guess it was in 2012 that it first came out. The concept is that certain people running Kickstarters commit that they will give 5% of their profit back into the Kickstarter system. Not 5% of their campaign, 5% of their profit. So you put a little icon on your site that says you're participating, and if at the end of the day, you did a $75,000 campaign and you made a $10,000 profit, you would throw $500 into other Kickstarter projects in the future, which is a good idea, I think, for your campaigns. If you have a campaign that is not successful, you're not obligated to do this, but it's a nice thing and shows that you are giving back to the community, which should help you in turn get support from the community. The next campaign we have is for a smartwatch. There have been a lot of these. The Neptune Pine is a little bit unique in that their watch is a standalone. You don't have to link it to a smartphone. It can function on its own. You put a SIM card right into the watch itself. It's a very technical-oriented campaign, more so than normal, maybe because of the subject matter. But they had things like lists of the technical specifications and developmental timelines and comparison charts, things like that. Very analytical style campaign. Next we had an Indiegogo campaign that was very solid, $1.2 million, big campaign. And this was about a device to help you improve the quality of sound that comes out of your desktop computer. So a lot of cool things in this campaign. They offered a reseller pack that you could buy a bunch of them for resale and get like a special discount. But another really cool thing I thought was they're offering, in effect, financing on their campaign. So they had a reward that was, let's say that they had a piece that was $750. I'm making up the numbers, but they'd have a reward level that you can sign up for this for $250, which is in effect your deposit, and then you're going to pay the balance over PayPal over some agreed time period. So I hadn't really noticed that before in a crowdfunding campaign. I thought that was a neat idea. And also, in somewhat of a similar vein, they launched basically immediately a follow-up campaign that if you missed the first campaign, here's another campaign. So I don't know if that strategy is permitted on Kickstarter. I haven't had a chance to look at that. I just saw this campaign a few days ago. But an interesting notion, the follow-up campaign for anybody that has payments they want to make or they want to purchase items, as opposed to having a website that handles that. You can do it through a follow-on campaign. And the star of the show in December. This was a computer project, a very simple computer kit that kids can put together to learn about how computers work and how to program and code and everything. $1.5 million, over 13,000 backers, hugely successful campaign. And it was a very nice graphical campaign. They had lots of charts and pictures, lots of supplementary video, and of course a theme that many people are interested in. Who doesn't want to do things for their children? So they sold a bunch of kits and quite likely have launched a real industry out of this project. So good luck to them. Hope that goes well. That's it for crowdfunding coverage for December of 2013. We look forward to an exciting 2014 and hope that you'll stop in and see us for each month's coverage. Take care.